My name is Winnie Mutevu, and I'm the Advocacy and Partnerships Manager at Awareness Against Human Trafficking, better known as HAT Kenya. Today we are in Nakuru County as we get to celebrate the World Day Against Human Trafficking. We are having a convening of the public, children, students, colleges, as well as the government and different agencies looking into the civil society organizations, as well as UN entities like IOM, UNODC, and from government we do have representation from Diaspora Affairs, as well as the Trafficking Persons Secretariat. And so the goal for us is to be able to create awareness to the general public on the issue of human trafficking, and being able to also share about the referral mechanism and the pathways that they're able to use to be able to report cases, but then above all looking into how they can be able to do due diligence. In case you're pursuing different opportunities, where do you go to do research and verify information, but then also in case you have to migrate, where do you begin with the journey and where do you conclude the journey, and also in case you get into trouble, whom do you reach out to be able to get assistance and help.
So for the public who wants to reach to you, how do they reach out to you?
So for HAT Kenya, we do operate a helpline that gets to run from 8 to 5 p.m. and you're able to reach us through 0780 211113. You can report your cases anytime. But then we also do have the DCI. They also operate a hotline. You can be able to report through the DCI, as well as the Secretariat. You're also able to report cases to them. So we do have very many pathways where someone is able to reach out for help and be able to get assistance.
There are so many people who doesn't understand human trafficking. What can you tell them about human trafficking?
So human trafficking is a very broad phenomena, and I would say from today's conversation, actually even the theme for the day is looking into human trafficking being organized crime. And so it manifests in different ways. Within the country, it's looking into children who are being employed as domestic workers, children who are being taken to hard cut. They don't go to school, this is what they're being taken to more or less do on a day-to-day. We are having children who are being taken to also work in people's farms, but then also looking into those who are being taken for organ harvesting. Their organs are being taken, used for different reasons, sometimes for witchcraft, other times it's for organ transplant. We also have individuals who are being taken for forced labor, adults, where you're forced to work in people's homes, in farms, industries, within the country and outside the country. Commonly what we all know is about the Gulf countries. So we've heard of many people being taken to countries like Saudi Arabia, Lebanon and the likes. And so just being able to understand it's very broad. It happens to both adults and children, and essentially is when you're having individuals being taken and being abused, and really their will is being taken away from them. They can't say no because one, either they're being held in a place where they can't actually exit, their documents have been taken away where they can't be able to also migrate in case they're in foreign countries, but also for children, looking at people who they trust, people who have power or control over them, then being able to abuse them. So it happens in many ways, and the goal is for us to look into how we can prevent this from continuing to happen in our country.
Also, you have mentioned about major origin counties like Trans Nzoia, Kiambu, Garissa, and Taita Taveta. What's happening there?
So we have majorly, you'll find children being taken from these communities and majorly working in urban centers as domestic workers. But then also we are having a lot of flow of adults who are migrating abroad, who are also originating from these counties. And so it's one of those things where you're looking into awareness on the issue of human trafficking, and also due diligence is very limited at the grassroots level. And so what traffickers are doing is they are preying on those who have limited information on what is happening and what they should be able to do to actually get due diligence. And hence, even today, where we are in Nakuru County, compared to how we've always had these conversations taking place in major cities like Mombasa and Nairobi, because now traffickers are shifting and actually going to mashinani. You are hearing cases also in areas like Mount Elgon. So our goal is to be able to reach as many people as possible, to be able to create a safety net for the community members in case we have traffickers being able to prey on them.
How do you do your rescues?
So for rescues, we collaborate with law enforcement. As civil society, we are not allowed to go and do rescues just because of security needs and also our mandate's limitation. And so we are able to report the cases to law enforcement, who are able to do rescues, and then we're able to support them looking into transportation costs, psychosocial support with shelter services, so really able to step in after the rescue process. But we don't go directly to homes or into brothels and rescue people.
How about those who do let's say domestic workers abroad? Let's say mostly we know them the region. How do you help them?
So for those who are trafficked abroad, the needs also vary. There are those who will be reaching out for help with repatriation. And we're able to work with our partners to look into how we can support with their repatriation. There are those who will be reaching out because they need traveling documents to be able to come back to the country. So being able to link them up with the consulars or the embassies for them to be able to get their documentation. And there are also those who will be reaching out when they're still in distress. They're still in the homes or in the industry where they're still being exploited. And so what we do is being able to see how we can report to law enforcement, sometimes even bringing on board Interpol to support with the rescues, and then being able to see how they're able to return back to their country. And then upon arrival, really looking into how best we can support with their needs. It varies. Others is medical need, others is just looking into being able to get household basics because they've lost everything because of having to leave and sometimes having sold everything that they used to own. But other times is looking into how do we address the push factors. Most of these people are traveling because they're looking for employment opportunities, support their livelihoods and that of their children. So our question then becomes, how do we address those push factors then to minimize them being re-trafficked again? So looking into economic empowerment, having business startups, supporting some of them to get employment, and others also being able to look into how can they be able to upskill to get more skills, then to increase their opportunities when it comes to what more can they be able to explore as individuals.
Plus, we've been hearing a lot of cases, let's say like Arabic countries. Do you reach out to them?
For us, any Kenyan who is trafficked abroad, be it in the Gulf, be it in West, be it in Asia, they are free and allowed to reach out for help, and we're able to see how best we can work with our partners, with the government agencies, for them to be able to get help. And the same is happening also in Kenya. So foreigners who are trafficked into Kenya, Kenyans who are trafficked in Kenya as well, we are able to offer support depending on their needs.
We have brothers and sisters who are working abroad. I know like most of them who are being taken there by agents. I don't know, they mention a lot of words. Maybe sometimes they say something like contract. Sometimes they say once they reach there, their passport are being taken away from them. A lot of things are happening there outside. Do you have something like how can they reach out to you people?
So we are accessible on all our social media platforms. We are present on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, really all social media platforms we are present. And also our helpline is active on WhatsApp as well as Telegram. So anyone can be able to reach out to us anytime through those different platforms. And we're able to get back as soon as we are able to. And I would say we know some of the challenges in some of the countries. An example in the Gulf countries, the kafala system, where now your employer becomes your sponsor, then creates all these risks and challenges where your documents are being taken away, your movement more or less is determined by your employer allowing you to be able to move, and even including exiting that country upon conclusion of your contract, them being the ones to actually be able to communicate that you're allowed and freed to be able to exit the countries. So there's a lot of lobbying and advocacy to look into how these platforms can be abolished, because they've just been able to create an avenue where people end up just being exploited and most of the time not being able to get out. And also if you get just bad people who are looking at you as objects, just the goal is for them to abuse you. A lot of this has been able to happen, and our goal is to look into how do we also advocate for changes to be made when it comes to the systems and the structures of the destination countries. But then also being able to educate our public, our Kenyans, for them to understand what are the risks, what are you looking at as you take up these opportunities, and for them to really be able to look into how they can be able to make informed decisions, and also being able to really explore and look into what benefits do they get compared to working in the domestic sector or even the hospitality sector, just looking into the different options that they have available for them to really be able to make informed decisions.
Coming back here at home, a lot of community, many of the community are unaware of this. Maybe someone is being trafficked, but he's not aware of what's happening.
Yes.
Mnafanya nini kuhakikisha that all this information inafikia watu hadi chini mashamba wapi?
So tunafanya kazi by going to where the communities are. So we don't, an example, we are active in more than 17 counties. What that means is on a monthly basis, we are in these counties and being able to convene community members to talk to them and explain what is happening, how does trafficking manifest, and how they will actually look into safe migration in case you want to explore migration abroad or even within the country. How do you safely migrate to these chances of being trafficked? But then also we do collaborate with schools. So we're able to educate educate children as well, because also children are being trafficked, not only adults. But I'll also be able to say the goal is being able to get to where the people are. So we also do engage through social media and through mainstream media as well as community radio stations. So we look into how best can we be able to actually to get to where the people are and being able to have these talks with them on a day-to-day so that really they are able to understand the issue in a broader perspective.
Your final remarks?
My conclusion is just being able to communicate that this crime is real. It's affecting us on a day-to-day. Sometimes it might be happening in our next door neighbors, and we may not be able to tell whatever is happening. So if you get or you see something that seems funny or fishy, just report the cases to law enforcement, to children officers. Go and report the cases, and then able to investigate and see actually if there's a crime being committed for them to be able to step in and take action. Critical is for us to be able to actually embrace those who are coming back home after going through exploitation. Let's look into how we can be able to support their rehabilitation, and where we are not able to, please let's reach out for help. Partners like Heart Kenya and many other NGOs are able to actually offer psychosocial support, being able to see how best we can support them with their integration back into the communities. And I would say lastly is for us to really take caution as we are exploring these different opportunities. Even if it's your own sister or your own auntie who is saying they're going to take your child for education, please do your investigations, visit them, confirm that for sure your child is able to get support that they require and not being exploited or abused in those communities. If it's abroad, do your due diligence, do your research. And sometimes if you're not too sure, just reach out to partners like Heart and be able to see how best we can support you with the whole process. But we do have very many systems that have been put in place for us to be able to explore and see how best we can prevent ourselves from ending up in these crimes. Thank you too.